what does all this have to do with A Course in Miracles? No. The question is, what does A Course in Miracles have to do with all of this? A Course in Miracles has to do with you all engaging in abandoning mutually agreed definitions and concepts that you have used to keep yourself unconscious of God. To keep yourself in a state of mind in which you have sovereign independence over yourselves. Except that it's not really sovereign, because you all have to cooperate with each other to be sure you're abiding by these mutually agreed upon definitions, which of course includes using certain language, associating with certain people, and certainly not honoring the low life. You know what? You walk around today and you see women with ducktails. They're not called that anymore, but it's short hair, cut down to the nape of the neck. How many of you realize that 50 years ago, when the first girls did that, they were the low life? And they were looked down upon and sneered at. And now, why, that's a perky hairdo. Don't you look cute? Boy, I think I'll get one of those. It just does wonders for you. What does A Course in Miracles have to do with all of this? It has to do with your beginning to take a closer look at the use you're putting your own mind to, and discovering the ways in which you are using righteousness or any other topic as a means of keeping yourself separate from your brother, your brothers, and your sisters. It has to do with looking at your world with innocent eyes and innocent ears, so that you might hear and see the meaning without the meaning being distorted by your taking offense, without your indulging in righteous reaction. Because whatever measuring stick you're using for your righteousness, as long as it is holding you separate from and above another, it's pure ego shit. Or shall I say, it's pure ego illusion. Well, it's far less effective to say pure ego illusion, because illusion, yeah, that's a word you use and no big deal. But I say pure ego shit, and you pay attention, and you know that it's something more than just a casual illusion. If it's pure ego shit, you know you better clean it up. You know something needs to be done about it. But pure ego illusion, yeah, well, who knows what that really means? And so for the time being, I'll just use the word pure ego illusion, and I won't have to do anything about it. I won't have to. See, I've listened, but I don't have to learn. And if I don't have to learn, then I don't have to do. And if I don't have to do, well, nobody can be upset with me. And I won't have to face whatever fulfillment really means. I won't have to face whatever waking up means. I love the idea of awakening. I love the idea of awakening. But don't make me do it yet, okay? Because I don't know what it will involve. And I don't know what it will turn me into. And so I would just as soon think about bliss. Oh, yes. I know. You don't know anything, but you say, I know it will mean eternal bliss. I'll think about that for a while. But don't rush me on the learning part, where I actually am different because I've learned. And don't make me move on to the next step of doing, where I have to behave consistent with what I've learned. Because I know that when I do that, it's going to make waves. It's going to offend someone's sensibilities. That's what this book is about. So we talked a couple of weeks ago about not taking offense, not having to take offense when a call for love that is a form of ugliness presents itself. And then I used a simple word. And everybody, not everybody, but many took offense. And no bells went off in their head that said, oh, this is what Raj was talking about. This is what the Course was talking about. A real experiential thing. Something that I really need to take a look at, because obviously this is what the Course was saying I don't need to do. You see? You listened and you heard. And now, if the bells went off, or even if they didn't go off, but if they're going off tonight, you're in a position of learning. You're in a position of being able to make a shift, a real change. So that the next time you hear the word fuck, it will not bother you. Because you have something better to do than to be in a feminine, I apologize to the women, but it's been characterized as a weak feminine characteristic, which isn't true about women, and men express it equally. Except they don't swoon or faint. They say, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. See, and they try to bring all their masculinity into it. They try to bring the wholeness of the meaning of the word no into it, which is exactly and only the thing I was setting the example for when I used the words 2 weeks ago. But these men, instead of swooning, try to bring the force of their human masculinity into expression to effect a change. The woman swoons and she's out of it. She changed everything by leaving the scene. But the man tries to change everything by being authoritative from an unjoined place. Both of them are responding, the women and the men are responding from their offendedness, not from their being. Now, it's absolutely useless for us to go through this book and bask in the beauty of the words and think that somehow we're on the spiritual beam. Because until change is effected in each of you and learning actually occurs, nothing is happening. And there's not the slightest presence of spirituality, real spirituality, to what's going on. Real spirituality occurs when you can sit down with a group of bikers using foul language, who are using foul language and not being offended by it, and actually perhaps being able to grasp the meaninglessness of their use of the words, or the meaning that they're giving to it that is entirely different from what your educated mind has determined those words mean. And if you can be with them and respond to them with understanding, because you're connected with them without judgment, communication can occur. And you can be an agent for change. You know what? When you're offended by something, the one who has offended you knows they own you. They've got you. They know they're in control, and they know you're out of control. You're walking down the street. You're dressed nicely, decently at least. Some raunchy-looking guy is leaning against the lamppost. He says, "Hey, motherfucker, get over here." And of course you, all clean and spiffy and pure, cringe. You immediately are filled with fear. You immediately feel that you're being confronted with by something that you're unequal to. And the fellow at the post knows he has the power. But if when he said that you said back to him, "Hey, motherfucker, smile when you say that." What do you think? Your ability to say those words may save your life one of these days, but it won't save your life if you're offended by it. Do you see what I'm saying? Are you learning something tonight? Are you trying to tell me that God, that the Holy Spirit, that divine intelligence is not, when you lean into it, going to prepare you and facilitate the way for you to be utterly appropriate in any given moment? How do you think you're going to cast out devils? If you don't cast them out, if you don't dismiss them. "Pretty please, Satan, would you get behind me?" You don't ask the devil to get behind you. You don't ask an illusion to depart. You dismiss it, as has been said, with the abiding conviction that it is illegitimate. In other words, having no capacity to stand in its own right and object to your dismissal. Well, I didn't really know that the Course meant that I would have to change the way I behave. Oh, I didn't really know that what the Course teaches meant that I would have to change. What the Course means to convey to you is that your experience is reflecting exactly what your current beliefs are. And that if you want your experience to change, you've got to change your beliefs. You've got to change your mutually agreed upon definitions, and you've got to change the criteria by which you are offended, among other things. But we're not just talking about shifting from these definitions to some new definitions you make up. We're talking about shifting from definitions that you have been using as a shield between you and what reality is, so that you're not experiencing reality for what it is. We're talking about abandoning the definitions so that you're in an unshielded, intimate relationship with what everything really is. Now, I'm speaking very definitely tonight, aren't I? Am I hollering? No. Am I angry? No. But you know what? When you know the truth, you can speak it clearly, and you can speak it distinctly, and you can speak it without apology. And you can speak it without guilt. And you can be the clarity that transforms without manipulating, without attempting to control everything around you. And the clarity with which you speak might be heard by another as a clarity they would only ever allow to come out of their mouth when they were upset. And so the assumption is that when someone is speaking with clarity, they must be upset. And it's not true. Now, if anyone would like me to go back to mouthing the pretty words in A Course in Miracles. Tough shit. Go somewhere else. Take your support somewhere else. Because you know what? What you're interested in supporting is not the truth. What you're interested in supporting is your own ego. What you're interested in supporting is something that at least some group of people recognizes to be a holy thing. And because you all agree that it's a holy thing, and you all agree to have reverence for it, you're actually accomplishing something. You're actually being something. But you're not. You're just hovering in pink clouds. And sure as hell some motherfucker's going to come and knock you out. of those clouds. And I'm willing to be that motherfucker. Because I love you. And because if you don't do it, none of this means shit. Am I angry? No. But I can be straight with you. I can even be gay with you. But I'll tell you something. I'm not here to cater to your egos. I'm here to cater to the Father. I'm here to cater to the truth. And I'm here to express it in whatever way gets you out of your ivory towers and off of your marble pedestals into a practical, grounded spirituality. A practical, grounded connectedness with where you are, so that as you abandon your being offended by where you are, what it really is can begin to register with you. Because your way of looking at things has changed. Now, I'm going to stop now. I have been talking pure Course in Miracles tonight. It doesn't all have to be in the words that we've been reading. And if the words that we've been reading do not lead you to this kind of practical groundedness, the book isn't worth a hill of beans. Is beans a bad word? Somewhere it probably is. Every week when we finish, I say, I love you. Tonight I'm going to say, I love you enough not to allow any of you to continue in a fanciful concept of what the Christ is and how the Christ behaves and how the Christ functions. I have conveyed to you that you never have to worry that you could do anything that would offend me. And that however you approach me, angry, sad, grief-stricken, pleasantly, offensively, it's not going to get in the way of my being with you and my being appropriate with you, and my conveying to you your integrity, whether you've been expressing it well or not, so that your integrity might be confirmed to you and allow you to abandon the grotesque or obtuse way in which you've been expressing the divine one that you are. So that you know there's a way out. So that you know that there is no way you can be trapped. And I encourage everyone who has the tendency to be easily offended to take a look at this habit like a garment that you're wrapped up in, so that you might take it off, because it isn't what you thought it was, and it isn't what you want. What you want is to be able to be unoffendedly real and appropriate in any given moment under any given circumstance, so that the clarity of the excellence of you can find expression no matter what the words and hit their mark in a way that confirms to your brother or sister that he or she has integrity and that he or she is not stuck. I love you, and 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 I love you, motherfucker. And I love you. And I love you. And I look forward to being with you next week. And you know what? I trust that you'll be back. Because I know you can learn. And I know learning has occurred. Okay.